Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I'm bringing you guys a little bonus video this week because lots of you have spotted me wearing this little beauty over on my Instagram. Now this I was gifted, full disclosure, back in the summer, and because it's not really a summer bag, I haven't really been able to wear it that frequently. However, now that we are in autumn, finally, I have been wearing this so much, and I think there's lots of you who are contemplating buying this bag, but before you do, you want a little Emma review. So that's what I'm going to bring you guys today. So this is the classic shoulder bag from the brand The Curated. The Curated is a relatively new brand. I think they've only really been on my radar for a little over a year. They specialised in wool and cashmere mixed coats, which you might have seen again over on my Instagram, the camel coat that I have, and you might have also heard me talking about that in my recent coats video as well. And then this is their latest addition to their collection, and it is a very classic bag. I think as a brand, that's kind of their ethos, really classic staples. And they also prioritise their ethical values and a more sustainable productions. These are all pros of the brand in general, but I'm going to go, as I usually do with my handbag reviews, dissect this bag and tell you guys the pros and the cons. So first of all, I'm going to start off with the basics. This bag is actually available in 3 different leather types or leather textures, if you will. I obviously have the mock croc, but it's also available in pebbled leather and smooth leather. And price wise, this is $295, which equates to roughly 265 euros and £230. So by no means is it cheap. It's still an expensive bag. It's still very much an investment, but I'm gonna let you guys know if I think it is worth that £230. Right, so let's get down to the nitty gritty. First of all, I'm gonna just address the elephant in the room, which I think is very obvious that this bag is clearly inspired by the Celine classic bag. This is Phoebe. Hello Phoebe. You don't have a name yet. Name suggestions. Now Phoebe I bought I think earlier on this year, so there's 2 videos on Phoebe, the unboxing and also a full review if anyone is curious. I actually bought her secondhand because they are so expensive and I could not bring myself to spend £2,300. Phoebe is the medium size and she is in liege leather, so I think that basically tells you guys how I feel about smooth leather. For me, it's just not practical at all. As beautiful as it is, I would always go for some kind of textured leather, which is why when the Curated asked me if I wanted to test out one of their bags and give them some feedback, I opted for this rather beautiful mock croc. But as you can see, there are a copious amount of similarities, and to be honest with you, I don't think that's a bad thing. I know some people are going to be like, oh, it's just a rip-off. I actually disagree. This is £2,300 bought brand new. I would just like to ask the question, how many people have that kind of money to spend on this bag? I would say not that many. So I really appreciate the fact that the Curated have made a much more affordable version of what is a very classic bag. Now, whilst there are a lot of similarities, there are also some differences. So Phoebe, I'm just going to pop you over here because I'm struggling. You're both quite heavy. Struggling to hold you both. As you can see, in terms of size and shape, the Celine Classic in the medium size is a bit more boxy, it's a bit more square, whereas this one is slightly more rectangular. There is actually a Saint Laurent bag and I've forgotten the style name of it. If I remember after we film this, I'll pop it on the screen, and that is a little bit more of this rectangular shape, so it's actually more similar to this style of bag. And I'm just going to be really honest and say that actually I prefer this size and this shape, just having used it. I've used this one now maybe about 10 times. Phoebe I've used a few more times, but after having used this a good amount of times, I think that I prefer this bag. There's a few reasons why. Number one is that this bag comes with 2 straps. So this is the first strap and this is the strap that I use on the most regular basis. In fact, it's the only strap that I use. I'll get the other strap out in a minute. But it's adjustable on the side here. It is attached by buckles and it's adjustable on both sides. Now, this strap is great because on the longest length, you can use that as a crossbody, which As I've said in all my other handbag reviews, I really like a crossbody bag. Living in London, I just think that the practicality of it is exactly something that I'm looking for. But I think it looks equally as beautiful worn as a shoulder bag as well, which is why I always have this strap attached onto the bag. Now I keep the spare strap, or the other strap, inside the bag. No, I don't, because I just took it out. Here's the other strap. So this is the length of the second strap. So I'm just going to attach it on so that you guys can see. Ta-da! So there we go. This is with the short strap attached. Now this short strap for me is a little bit redundant because I never use it. The short strap I assumed would be so that you can wear this as a shorter shoulder bag, so you can wear it more like as you would a Chanel classic if you doubled up the chain, sort of to sit underneath your arm. This, and I know I've got a bit of a chunky jumper on, but it nestles quite high under your arm. In fact, it's safely nestled in the armpit, and you don't, well, it just doesn't feel comfortable. You don't have a lot of room. I almost feel like I should be sat a little bit stiff. For me, it's just not very practical, so that's why I don't use this strap. I don't know if that was the actual intention of the strap, or if it is to be used more so as just a top handle so that you can use it exactly like that as a handbag, as a handheld bag. Now lastly, you can also use this bag as a clutch, and I know that it might look a little bit bulky, so yeah, perhaps it's not the most elegant kind of clutch in the world, but if you remove the straps completely, you do still have the buckles on there, but they kind of tuck in out the way just into that top section. And there you go, clutch. And actually, I think that works really well as a clutch. Again, you know, it's a little bit wide, so probably not the best for sort of an elegant evening, but definitely if you wanted to kind of just do a clutch with, you know, your winter coat or something, if you just wanted a different vibe, you at least have the option. Right, I've just gone ahead and reattached the longer strap so I can carry on having a little chit chat about the bag. I'm gonna move on to hardware. Now, if I just pop these side by side, you'll probably be able to tell the difference in the hardware. The hardware on the Curated bag is much glossier. It has more of a sheen to it, whereas on the Celine bag, it's almost a bit sort of antique-y, a bit deliberately kind of mattified. So this kind of shows the craftsmanship and the difference why you're paying almost £2,000 more for a Celine. It comes down to all these really fine little details. If this kind of thing doesn't bother you, then, you know, fine. £230 and you've got a much more affordable option. But the hardware on this is shinier. I hate to use this word, but it's a little bit tackier. So it's got that really brassy, yellowy tone to the gold, whereas the Celine has a lot more of a subtle gold. This is very, very, very bright, brassy gold. Having said that, I actually prefer the clasp on this bag. So the clasp on the Celine is kind of like a little hinge, and you do that, unpop it, and that's how it works. The clasp on this bag pops down like that, and then it has almost a little eyelet which just slots onto that little groove there, and then you can close it. Now, the way that I normally use this bag would be the crossbody or as a shoulder bag, so I can only compare the two in the way that I would use them. But if I'm approaching the turnstiles on the tube and I need to get out my Oyster card, or I need to get out my phone or whatever, then I need a relatively quick action bag, a get in and a get out. This is a little bit of a faff actually, just because you kind of have to align the square, and then you've got to do the clasp, and you've got to push it down, it springs back, and it's a little bit annoying. This I actually find you can do really easily. That is more of a two-handed job, whereas this one can be done one-handed. Doing it up, slightly more fiddly, but I still think you can do it one-handed. So I actually prefer the clasp on this one. I think that it's a lot more practical. Now moving on to the interior, I'm not going to pick up the Celine again, but we'll show you in the cutaways. The interior layout of the bag is actually identical. So there's the zip pocket at the back, There's the main compartment in the middle here, which, sorry, I've just got my padding in so that I keep it in shape. And there's the front pocket, which is more of an envelope pocket, with these two sort of, I suppose they'd be like mobile phone holders, or like little patch pockets which are attached onto the top and the front of the bag here. So in terms of interior, they're identical. The one thing that I would say is this main compartment in the middle here, you've actually got more room in this bag as opposed to the Celine, so you can fit more in here. So I know it's empty at the moment, but I can just fit my usual kind of bits and bobs in there. So phone, I normally have a phone cable and one of those hefty 5-charge portable chargers, lipstick, hand sanitizer, card holder, keys, and that's about it. And I can fit all that in there quite comfortably. The negatives, and this actually works for both of these bags, is that this front pocket here is pretty much, again, redundant. It's so tight, it's difficult to get your hand in. I'd say just for easy access, you could probably just slip your phone in there or a card holder, but anything else, my phone actually doesn't fit. Where is my phone? My phone doesn't fit in these pockets, so I really haven't got a clue what these pockets are for, because it just sticks out the top. So those are pointless. The pocket at the back, again, quite tight, but because it's got a zip on there, it has a little bit of added security. So again, if you wanted to pop in, if you were using this for traveling, maybe if you're a very chic traveler, you could put in your passport, or you can keep your wallet or cash or whatever. Anything that's valuable, you can obviously keep in that zippy pocket there. And as you can see, the interior of this bag is lined in smooth leather. So if you were sort of unsure as to what the smooth leather looks like for the entire smooth leather version of the bag, this is what it looks like. It's delicious, but I have already got a few scuffs and scrapes on the inside of this bag, so it just goes to show how delicate this kind of leather is. Just something to bear in mind when making your decision about which kind of leather to go for. Now, I would say the main kind of pro of this bag, and what draws me to both of these actually, is just this very simplistic, very minimalistic design. It's so wearable, it's incredibly chic. There's no real bells and whistles on here. It's, you know, it's a very classic style of bag. There's nothing too fussy. Even the clasp, you know, it's not too fussy. There's no additional bits and bobs on the inside to make it overcomplicated. It's classic, it's chic, and it's incredibly wearable whilst also being quite practical at the same time. And it's a bag that won't lose its shape because, like the Celine, it's very structured. Now, obviously this one is the croc, which is more of a patent leather. So this one is going to be a lot more structured and a lot stiffer than the other two forms of leather. However, I really like that. I like a nice structured, boxy bag, because for me, when a bag loses its shape, it loses its luster and it just looks really sad. So I like a nice structured boxy bag. And when it comes to the leather, which I think is one thing that you guys have been asking me about, does it feel cheap? Does it feel plasticky? Is it a good quality? How is the stitching? I honestly think it's an incredible bag. I mean, there's definitely going to be a lot of quality differences between the two, depending on your eye and depending how particular you are. But guys, £2,300 versus £230. So to summarise, these are my quick fire pros. It's structured, it won't lose its shape. It is chic AF. It's versatile. This particular leather is very durable. It can be worn as a crossbody along with a clutch and a top handle and a shoulder bag. It's got an easy functioning clasp, and it is an affordable alternative to the Celine. And then my quickfire cons. The hardware is a bit shiny and a bit too yellow. The second strap, little bit redundant because I personally wouldn't use it, and the internal pockets, these two either side, are a little bit too narrow. I would prefer a little bit more room in there. But there you have it, guys. That's it, my review. I hope you found it useful. I hope I answered some of your questions that you've been asking me. If you do have any other questions at all, please do leave them down in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. These bags, from what I'm aware, they have a very small run of them that are actually manufactured. So they avoid waste, basically. I think that's one of the good things about the Curated. They're very sort of in tune with sustainability and also with ethical practices. So they don't make too many of them in one go. However, I believe there is another drop of this mock croc. I think there might be a waiting list. So if there's any of those details, I'll leave them down in the description box below. But thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys on Sunday for our next video. Bye.